Two massive armies grind to a halt on the edge of Kurukshetra. Millions of men, locked into rigid formation, wait for the first strike. On one side, the Kaurava forces dominate the field. They command a massive numerical superiority, effectively dwarfing the opposing alliance. Surveying this vast disparity is Duryodhana, the acting king and the primary architect of the conflict. He looks across the front lines, evaluating the enemy positions. Then he makes his first move. He does not turn to his commander-in-chief, Bhishma, to order the attack. He bypasses him completely. In strict ancient military hierarchy, ignoring the supreme commander in full view of the troops is a severe breach of protocol. It exposes a break in the chain of command and signals an internal crisis right before weapons are drawn. The second verse of the Bhagavad Gita preserves the specific moment Duryodhana makes this approach. While modern readers often skim past this as a transition, the sheer volume of commentary dedicated to these two lines indicates that the text is carrying significant strategic information. Simplified translations often lose the friction of the original text. Ancient Sanskrit is a highly deliberate language, where the mechanics of grammar serve a specific function. Verse 1.2 functions as a psychological profile. It documents how political paranoia operates under the mask of standard military procedure. To reconstruct the king's mental state at this moment, we have to look at the verse word by word. We will see that these grammatical choices encode the military calculations that define the stakes of the war. The sequence begins with the word dṛṣṭvā, meaning having seen. This identifies the exact visual trigger for the king's next action. What Duryodhana sees is described by the word vyūḍhaṃ, referring to the specific tactical arrangement of the enemy troops. This is the Vajra formation. It is a highly disciplined, singular structure, appearing completely unified in its purpose. This unity is exactly what the Kaurava side lacks. The vast army Duryodhana has assembled is fractured along deep internal fault lines. Several of his key generals internally oppose the war. They are fighting out of obligation, not conviction. This creates a severe operational vulnerability. In this moment of tension, Sanjaya refers to Duryodhana using the title Rājā, or king. While Dhritarashtra holds the throne, Duryodhana operates as the state's prime strategic actor. The actual power rests with him. Facing an impenetrable enemy forces him to drop his posture as a secure military leader and act as a political manipulator to secure his own ranks. This provides the logic for the bypass. Duryodhana approaches the military tutor, Droṇācārya, instead of the active commander, Bhishma. From the king's perspective, Bhishma is a known quantity. He is bound by rigid familial duty, meaning his participation in the war is guaranteed. Droṇācārya's profile is different. He harbors well-known affection for the enemy champion, Arjuna. This matrix compares the two generals. Drona's affection for the enemy makes him an extreme strategic threat. If he hesitates in combat, the Kaurava lines will break. Duryodhana's objective is to neutralize that bias. He needs to incite a sense of defensive anger in the teacher, forcing a lethal commitment to the Kaurava side. Managing familial duty requires formal respect, but managing a conditional, ego-driven allegiance requires active intervention. The leader must personally manage the most unstable and lethal asset on the battlefield. Bypassing the commander-in-chief was not a lapse in judgment, but a calculated triage of a fractured chain of command. The mechanics of this intervention are found in the word upasaṅgamya, meaning having approached. The power dynamic is inverted here. The king leaves his position and walks to his subordinate, rather than summoning the general to him. This movement is a calculated act of reverence, designed to stroke the guru's ego and lower his defenses before a word is spoken. The verse concludes with the phrase vacanam abravīt. In Sanskrit, the verb abravīt already means he spoke. Adding the noun vacanam, or word, is technically redundant. Ancient authors use redundancy to draw attention to the nature of an action. Vacanam in this context implies a grave, premeditated speech rather than casual dialogue. This frames the impending conversation between king and tutor as a structured diplomatic trap. every physical step and every syllable Duryodhana uses is engineered to force Droṇācārya into a psychological corner. Zooming out from the microscopic vocabulary, the macro-strategic reality of the battlefield becomes clear. Duryodhana has an overwhelming military advantage, yet he is acting out of profound internal insecurity. Verse 1.2 documents a specific progression, from visual panic to the subversion of command to calculated manipulation. The most dangerous crises in leadership are often masked behind standard operating procedures and formal speeches. This proves that Chapter 1 is not a preamble. It is the necessary context for the rest of the text. It serves as a diagnostic manual for the exact psychological ruin that necessitates the philosophical intervention to follow. Reading these original manuscripts directly provides access to the political data that is often lost in simplified translations. The vulnerabilities of an empire are rarely found in troop numbers alone. They are encoded in the specific grammatical choices of its commanders.